Welcome to our new video series, What Goes Where. In this series, we'll be covering what labels go where on your solar installation. The first kit we'll be looking at is the Disconnection Point Kit. Let's start at the inverter. Our first label is the shutdown procedure. Now this label needs to be placed on the outside of the inverter near the equipment that needs to be isolated, like your DC isolator and your AC isolator if you have one at the inverter. Below the shutdown procedure is the shutdown procedure warning. Now it's important that these labels are placed together on the inverter. Sometimes we see this label missed. It's important that these are placed together on the inverter. Moving on, we have our PV array DC isolator label. This goes beside the load break switch, whether it's inbuilt or a separate switch beside your inverter. We also have our inverter AC isolator label as well for your AC ISO at your inverter. Moving on to the switchboard. On the outside of the switchboard, we have our PV DP label. And in Victoria, we have the warning this premise label. So this is a Victorian only label, and this must be placed on the outside of the switchboard. Inside the switchboard, we have our warning multiple supplies label. Sometimes we see this label placed on the inverter. This is actually meant to go inside the switchboard to which the inverter is connected. We also have our inverter location label, and we have our small main switch, inverter supply, main switch, grid supply labels for the separate circuit breakers. We also, in some kits, we have the off-peak main switch and hot water main switch. These are for state requirements like New South Wales, that kind of thing. If we move on up to the roof, we have our warning PV string disconnection label. Now this needs to be placed on the side of the panels or the racking within 300 mil of the disconnection point. Then have our two little disconnection point cable labels. There's one for the positive and one for the negative. So there'll be two of these per disconnection point, and they need to be placed within 100 mil of the disconnection point. And last but not least, our big ceiling label. Now this needs to be placed adjacent to the access point for the ceiling. You can either place that on the manhole cover, which won't look very pretty, or you can put it just inside your manhole, either screw it to a truss or similar kind of thing. So I hope that was informative. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us and we'll be happy to help.